tempting thing to do is that let's advertising कर लेते हैं बहुत सारी, distribution will follow. ऐसा होता नहीं है, you know.
Sometimes founders do that they launch something for the business, which will be good for the business, but sometimes it's not good for the consumer.
Yeah, fair enough. I feel that in India, you can't build a strong brand, D2C brand, without having a sizable offline business.
There has to be a ceiling that this brand does not give more than 25%.
And no more time for picking up to these fakes who ain't around when the time's getting.
This is the second episode of the Recur Club show, and I'm Garima, and
Hi, I'm Rajat.
so I am the co-founder of Praush Beauty, which is a mass premium cosmetics brand. We make cosmetics for the Indian women.
And I am a co-founder of Ustraa. We are a men's grooming brand. So tell us about your journey, Garima. You were very young, yeah? When did you start? And
So actually, the first time when I got into entrepreneurship, it was actually straight out of college.
Okay.
So I was just 21, 22 year old, and so I met Gaurav at that time, and I was already doing some content writing and marketing projects, freelance projects for American clients while being in college in third year.
Okay.
So that's when we met and we said, okay, let's start a marketing agency together. So that's why we had a marketing agency, worked with clients, great e-commerce companies, Lenskart, Jabong, Policy Bazaar, all these brands. And then in 2019 we thought, we have marketed so many products, we should now have our own product that we should market and build. So that's how I started. How did you start entrepreneurship?
So I started a long time ago. So when we started, people who quit their jobs to set up entrepreneurship or become entrepreneurs, they were not called entrepreneurs, they were called idiots. Because you take up you go to MBA, do a good job, take a good job, then you don't normally quit. That time it was very different. So I'm talking about way back in 2001, 2002 is when we started. And we didn't start with Ustraa, we started with a company called Happily Get Married. And Happily Get Married had a very single-minded focus. It was me and my batchmate. We both are from, we both were together in MICA. And the only thing that we had in mind, or the only idea that we had was that, in this country, everything is targeted towards married people,
Right.
If you look at cinema, is complete family entertainment. All malls, etc., push families,
Yeah.
Everything is targeted at families. Let's do something for single people.
Okay.
And it was based out of our own experiences, that we were in Hyderabad and we were trying to look for accommodation for us, and nobody is giving it to us because we were single.
Singles.
So we said, let's start up a company which looks after the interest of single people, and that's how Happily Married came about. And then we did multiple things. So my journey started with my own idea.
Right.
I understood you did market. You had a marketing, but why? How come cosmetics and not, say, fashion clothes? Because you could have done that as well.
Okay, so makeup was actually the first choice, cosmetics, because I had a lot of cousins who were makeup artists. So
Okay.
it was like a household conversation about beauty all the time.
Okay.
It was also about fashion, but fashion mein there were my cousins who had burnt their hands because of the number of SKUs. They were always crying. They had showrooms. They were always crying कि इतने ज़्यादा SKUs रखने पड़ते हैं. We have to stock so much and then dead stock. That fashion का winter cycle and everything. So earlier, so I had seen in my family that fashion is not something we have to do.
Very interesting.
So in cosmetics, so my cousins were becoming makeup artists. So I got very easy access to the top layer of the makeup user.
So were you even as a kid interested in makeup, and what was it like?
Yeah, actually, so this is interesting. So as I said, there was a lot of influence in my family, so it was very normal to apply makeup in my family. My parents never had any problem. So I had piercings and used to apply makeup. So a lot of my friends, their parents used to say that she's a bad influence and you should not talk to her because she's too much into fashion and makeup. It was a taboo back then, right? And but then I am the best influence your child could have, because I used to score 90% all the time, and then I went on to do BTech. I started my own business. I did well in life. So I think that way I am a good influence on your child, but I think that taboo has always been there. That makeup and fashion, it's not a good thing. Yeah.
So is there anything you would like to say to them now that you've built a beautiful business out of doing things that you did in school? So makeup, you have a nice makeup brand and you're doing very well.
I think makeup is now it's very mainstream. So when back then, even when we were in college, people used to apply just one kajal and everything. But now actually, I was studying the stats. So about 38%. I don't remember that stat. Wo stat kya tha?
So we'll make it up.
I forgot.
You can always
Big
make up
number.
stats in an interview. That's the best part of it. Just say.
So the market is now actually expanding a lot. Now in colleges, people apply full faces of makeup, and then eventually, when you, especially in North India, it's very prevalent. Delhi mein to people apply a lot of makeup. Like people have started applying makeup in their daily life. In our office also, there's this evolution when some fresher joins. First they come without makeup, then they start applying 2 products, then 4 products, then they are coming with full faces. So it's the peer pressure also. So like I saw some stats that the number of women who apply makeup every single day, it's increasing rapidly, and then the purchasing power is also increasing for women. So they are buying makeup for themselves. So how did Ustraa started? You shared the journey of Happily and Married.
So Happily and Married essentially was into all kind of quirky things. We were into gifting, we were into bar accessories, we were into t-shirts, all those things. And we had raised after bootstrapping for about 10 years. So that's BMA Management. We started in 2003, and for 10 years we bootstrapped. So it's a long journey where we managed on our own, had a lot of fun, but bootstrapped. Then we raised money in 2013. As the business grew and we realized that classic problem that you were saying, the number of SKUs had to be more, and you had to do a lot of inventory management, and a lot of your venture money was going into working capital, which is not a good idea. But what we had also realized is a lot of our customers were men.
Right.
So now our obvious question was, what else can we sell to these men? And as a category, I think like you understand makeup and you understand how girls think, we understood how the male mind is. So we had to come up with some categories or some products that we could sell to men. So even in our office, we suddenly saw a lot of these men who were sporting beards, so experimenting with hair, but they didn't have products to cater to those needs. So it just came out of that, like Happily and Married came out of own experiences. Even Ustraa came out with just a couple of us in office saying, yaar, दाढ़ी बड़ी है, कुछ लगाने के लिए अच्छा ऑयल नहीं है, क्या करें? So we said, let's find out what the market kya hota hai. And then we did that research and realized that nobody is making products for men. And then we said, yaar, hum hi banate hain. And then there was the classic, feedback, this is a different business. You're in a gifting or a home accessories business. Suddenly you want to go into FMCG space. It's a different market. वहाँ पे बहुत competition है. They're very big brands. You have to have a certain scale. That you would have realized that when you start, you have to do the MOQs are very high in this industry.
In this industry, right?
So we said, यार हम खुद करके देखते हैं. So everything. Initially, we even set up our own factory.
Oh, you did.
And started making it because there was nobody making men's products.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
So that's how it started. And then we realized that within a couple of months of launching Ustraa, it was outselling Happily and Married on our website.
Oh, okay.
So then we realized that there's something here, there's an opportunity here. And once you've raised venture money and you've got investors, then obviously scale becomes of importance. So then we realized that maybe instead of focusing on Happily and Married, we expand Ustraa and take it to make it a bigger scale, because it obviously seemed like a bigger market. Like you say, Happily and Married, कोई हमें बोलता कि can you imagine it being a 500 crore brand? We would struggle कि यार कहाँ से आएगा, क्या बेचेंगे इतना? But with Ustraa, it seemed like a very obvious question कि यार ठीक है, ये करेंगे, ये 4 खड़े करेंगे, इतने आउटलेट में डालेंगे तो आपका 500 करोड़ हो जाएगा, 1000 करोड़ हो जाएगा. So like then we spoke to our investors. And Sanjeev Bikchandani is one of our investors, and he also suggested that your time has come for you to. He said you found your Naukri moment. He said he was talking about his own experience that when he started Naukri, he was doing multiple different things. But then when Naukri, they realized that this one can outgrow everybody else and become bigger. So then they shut all those businesses, even though they were making money, to focus on
Naukri.
So हमने भी यही किया. We stopped doing Happily and Married. It had become a very popular brand. It had a very solid cult following. And started focusing on Happily and Married. It's been 2015 is when we stopped. So it's been like 7-8 years, and now people come and tell us, ask us why did you stop Happily Unmarried.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a bit of timing also, no? You move forward and you go to a bigger market and you address a bigger audience. So it's अपना एक challenge होता है. So what kind of challenges are you facing in your business right now? What is your biggest challenge? If I ask you, कि सबसे बड़ा tension?
I think it's there are two challenges. I think largely one is what you already suggested, that so makeup is a routine led business, routine led process. So there are several SKUs. So it's not like fragrance that you have two kinds of perfumes and you distribute and you become 1,000 crore company like someone like a Denver.
इतना आसान नहीं होता, but I like how you saying.
I mean,
yeah, no, I understand.
so with cosmetics, it's just that the SKUs have to be more because of the routine nature of the makeup process, and also because it is a variety seeking category, not as much as fashion, but at least to an extent. And the other one is that online now you can always have resources, we can have good images, videos, influencers and everything, but I think for offline it is a very beauty advisor led driven business. तो किसी को समझाना पड़ेगा, someone has to kind of explain, show, and then it sells. So for that, so these are two things. So in the first one, obviously all your working capital gets stuck into maintaining the SKUs, and also for that reason we are from the marketing background, so we always try to create each of our product should have its own identity, its own name, its own kind of fan following. So that's how they do it in the US. So there is Champagne Pop Highlighter by Becca, Anastasia Beverly Hills Brows. So those are their hero products and the whole world knows it. So I think we have built category by category in a similar manner, that we first entered tools, which was a low MOQ kind of a category. We said, okay, cosmetics mein hi jana, so we'll go into tools. So we became famous for our tools, our makeup sponges and our makeup brushes. They are still very popular. In Nykaa, we stand in top 5 in both of these categories. So people know the women who are there, tier 1 mainly jo hum target kar rahe hain. Tier 1 women, they know that okay, this brand Praush is known for tools. We first won their trust through tools, and then we went into cosmetics, which is a higher MOQ, higher working capital. So when the business came to a stage where we had certain revenues, like we were doing about an MRR of upwards of 70-80 lakhs, so we were bootstrapping obviously. So at that time we launched our cosmetics, that at least we have some money and we know we have an audience, we have a community. So that's how we did it. But now that, and cosmetics have higher repeat, so now we are expanding our cosmetics are also well accepted. So with cosmetics, the SQ and the shade range and everything, that is a little bit of a challenge, but otherwise I think it's a great journey. Yeah.
So how old is Praush?
Praush, we started end of 2019.
So it's been 4 years.
You started your brand back in 2003.
2003 was Happily Unmarried, long time. So we were also fresh out of college.
Okay.
I had worked for a couple of years. Both of us are from an advertising background, so we felt that branding is something we'll be able to do.
So back then, how was it different to build a team and a culture versus now?
So actually back then it was the biggest challenge was there was no social media.
Yeah.
So you didn't know how to connect to customers, right? And for a long time we didn't know who our customers were.
Yeah. Identification.
So then what we did was that we decided that okay, which is the coolest place in India? The coolest place in India is Goa. So we should open a store in Goa.
Okay.
So we one day got up from Delhi and went and opened a store in Goa.
Right.
And when we were in Goa, again, like all the sort of cool crowd, that time it was even more edgier. Now it's become more mainstream. So there were a lot of people from Pune, Bangalore, Bombay, wherever, every city, they would come and visit the store. Everybody would stop and see Happily Unmarried ka board laga hua hai, they would kya hai dekhte aate. And we had done the store very well. So people would come and then they would tell us names of shops where we could sell in their city.
Okay.
So that was database which we had to very difficult to acquire. That अच्छा पुणे में एक store ऐसे Hyderabad करके वहाँ बेचना, Bombay में से stores. So we found a list of stores from there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we started supplying to them, and the business
Right.
grew. Then sometime 2007 is when Facebook started becoming
Yeah,
popular.
Facebook.
तो मैंने Facebook में क्या किया, मैंने एक दिन Facebook ज्वाइन किया. Then I said, okay, let's make a happily minute page. So I made a happily minute page and forgot about it. Because that time, just figuring out how Facebook was. Then one day I came back and I said, hey, 60,000 people. I was shocked. I said, ये कहाँ से आया? And then within a couple of months it became 2 lakhs, and it was a sizable number that time. And we were getting, and those are early days. There was fantastic traction we were getting on our posts.
Yeah.
So even now, after so long, some of the stuff that we've done as for like Rakhi or Women's Day, even now that gets shared. So it's really interesting to see after such a long time. So that's how it became. So we built it up then, and I'm a believer in small teams. I don't think we should have big people doing multiple things. And so we, personally, both Rahul and me had a lot of things about how companies should be and how they should be run, because we didn't want the classic corporate culture in our office. So that's how we built it up, and that's how it continues. And I think one of the proofs of that is that people who started with us way back, we had like our head of design right now, Nikhil, came to us when he was in college to do internship, and he never went back. I mean, he finished his college, he's an architect, but he never went. So now he's heading a design. It's like that. So we've had sort of people who just came and they became part of the system, and then they grew as the company grew. So it's been a very interesting journey like that. So how big is your team now?
We are also a very small team, about 28-30 people. How big is your team now?
So we were about 200 people
Okay.
then when we were acquired. So recently VLCC is acquired Ustraa, so we are going to a different level of growth and level of a company. So that's a phase we are going through right now. It's very interesting. But for the longest time, even though we were 200 people, we behaved like a small company, so there were not multiple layers, and we made sure that the atmosphere was clean. There was no like bickering or politics, which is what just drives people away from
It's
companies.
very important.
So you have to build that
culture.
Yeah, and it has to come from I think the founders have to lead, because they are the HR managers default of the company. So So how much time do you devote to social media, or are you?
So actually, interestingly, our background is in social media, but now that there are so many other roles to do, that hardly I get to spend any time on social media. So we have the team, and mostly my partner Gaurav, he handles the marketing, and I handle other parts. So for me, getting involved so once a week I allocate a day when I get involved in social media or with influencers, and then I kind of get into the creative process, and that day is like the most fun day of the week for me now, because otherwise it's mostly ops, strategy, this and that.
That's how it
So but then that is one fun day and it's very important actually for us that we have been able to maintain a good social media because we are also deeply involved in what kind of things need to go, because it is the face of the brand. Now it's two-way communication. So the communities that we have built, social media is the only reason. Yes, so it's very important, but not too much time I'm able to devote on it. I have pledged to devote more time now somehow.
Well, it's a good way to connect to your customers.
So for the customer connection, yes, we do all those WhatsApps and surveys and all those things. What are the essentials of building a likable brand? Because I think nobody would know better than you, because now this is a Instagram like, but earlier it used to be more,
Yeah, I think we are still learning. Every stage is a new learning. So, for instance, initially you're talking to say a small set of people, then you're talking to an even larger set of people, and then you have to make sure that you don't alienate anybody, and keep going. So I think the first and foremost is that the brand should be true to its customers. That is really important. Secondly, it should identify a definite need. Right? And third is that if you can build an emotional connect with the customer, that really helps you, because then the customer becomes your brand spokesman. And now if you see, there's really mega brands, like I have seen more people tell me why Apple phone is great.
Yeah.
Because they've so much invested in the brand,
Yeah.
or a Nike shoe, because they become part of the brand. So I think to build that is the ultimate. So we try to connect with the customer at
Yeah.
multiple levels, and the idea really being is to, if we can help make his life a little better, or,
Yeah.
so that's what we say, that Ustraa is in the business of, it's making him look his best.
Yeah.
So not everybody is born good looking, but everybody can look good.
They can.
तो वो अगर आप किसी तरह से कर लेते हो अपने कस्टमर की लाइफ में, then he has an emotional connect with the brand. It doesn't mean that he'll only buy you.
Yeah.
Customers usually have a brand basket, they have some
Yeah,
three, four brands on their list, and they pick up one from that. But our idea is that he should choose you more than the other guys. So that's what we do to make the customer like us. It's very difficult. Customers are very fickle.
Yeah.
And the expectations are always very high.
Yeah. With the competition always.
Yeah, with the
there.
competition and with multiple discounting and
Yeah,
and like,
now the discount.
so do you share the challenge of price discounting, or?
So this is our discussion every day. Today, right before coming here, we were talking about it, that so the sale is going on right now on a lot of channels, and discounting. So they always keep calling the marketplace people 40%, 50%. He's doing it, she's doing it, and everything. But I think somehow creating that balance is important.
Yeah.
There has to be a ceiling that this brand does not give more than 25%.
Yeah.
That's what we try to always maintain, that we give maximum of 25% and not a 50 frequently or anything. Because I think now people have started giving discounts so much, and when you go omni-channel, then if you just even start offline, then they're like, ma'am, online there is 50, what are you doing, and everything. So I think to maintain a price parity is very important
really
across
critical.
platforms.
Right, yeah, that is very critical, and it has to start very early, because it doesn't. You can't say that abhi de dete hain discount. बाद में जब बड़े हो जाएंगे तो नहीं, वो कभी नहीं होता. So what you set up now becomes the benchmark for the future. So whatever margins you decide, whatever trade policies you decide, whatever that's our learning, that when you especially build offline, whatever policies you decide, that is it. That will continue for the next 8 years. You can't change that.
Yeah.
Because so you have to make sure that everybody gets treated equally, right? You can't say that online to our discount area, offline to discount area. It's very critical that everything is treated equally and fairly, because they're all in a way part of the system and helping you build your business. And in return, if they expect some money, that's only fair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In terms of branding versus distribution, like in terms of focus and investment, what do you think? Are there stages when someone should do distribution first and then brand, or brand first then distribution, or it goes together?
Actually, it's a very tough challenge, because the tempting thing to do is that let's advertising kar lete hain bahut sari, and then distribution will follow.
Yeah.
वैसे होता नहीं है, finally, हमने जैसे initially when we started, we were only online. For the longest time, we were advertising, so we started getting some queries from offline. We were advertising on Facebook so we started getting queries on offline. When we started fulfilling them, but we realized that is not how it works. You have to still invest in teams, get products across markets, build a distribution system, and real impactful advertising, which takes a lot of money, is a waste if you don't have distribution, right?
Yeah.
So आपने एडवर्टाइजिंग कर ली और कस्टमर दुकान में पहुंच गया और उसको आपको प्रोडक्ट नहीं मिला, then he is going to buy something else, which is not what you want. So that is the challenge, that and at every scale you feel that really, even if you're right now we are in say 15,000 outlets, we feel that when we are in 40,000 outlets, then we should do television. Guys I know who are in 40,000 outlets feel that we should be in 50,000 or 1 lakh outlets, then we'll do television, or we'll do mass media campaigns. So that challenge stays with us. But now I think because of social media and other digital channels, there's a lot of focus advertising that you can do.
Yeah.
And especially, our kind of customers, like, I'm sure your customers are not watching too much of television. They are more invested in social media or the OTT network. So there are ways to reach them.
Yeah.
And what's happening, unfortunately, is that because that option is limited, it gets very expensive to reach out to the customer.
Yeah.
So your customer acquisition cost keeps going up.
Yeah.
So you always were sure that you want to do your own business, or did you think of?
No, actually, I was always sure. So even while I was in college, I was sure. So my parents also used to say that you might be stupid, but then obviously the whole family is also a business family. So if it was a boy, it would have been obvious. But I was a girl, and it was surprising for them because I was a girl. That if you're a girl, why would you do business? So at that time also, I mean, it's not very long. 2012, I graduated. So at that time, the girls had started doing jobs. So उन्होंने बोला तुमने एक step और आगे चले गए.
अच्छा, good, no, very good.
So what do you think were the mistakes? I mean, if you would recall and you.
I don't know if they're mistakes. I just feel that sometimes that while you can do your business and be very good at it, there's a timing of the market.
Yeah.
Right? If the market is not ready, then even with the best of businesses, they will not succeed. And there are multiple examples of that. So I think with Happily Married, that was the challenge, because we realized that it was a little ahead of its time.
Okay.
So जब वो आया था and you didn't, there was a point where you couldn't grow. For instance, I'll give you an example that with Happily Married website and everything, we were selling in 30 cities.
Okay.
Through the website.
Yeah.
Maybe 35 cities. Ustraa right now, we do more than 1200 towns and cities, which we have mapped through a pin code on the website. So with Ustraa, we got the timing right.
Yeah.
So I think one of the learning is that if you try something, even if it is very passionate, and if it doesn't work, you have to let it go and try something else.
Yeah.
You have to keep trying multiple things. So while you're emotionally invested in a business, you have to keep thinking of if this doesn't work, then what do I do? And I'm saying that don't say that I'll stop doing the business and take up a job. For instance, you had a plan to start with tools, then you said let's do cosmetic. Now I'm sure obviously think of 2 more things to do.
Yeah.
So I guess that is a continuous process. You can't stop. So I think that is the learning. And I think the mistakes was when you try to raise money, and that's the time when you because have you raised any?
Just an angel round, not institutional.
So I think what happens once you raise money, then at least one of the co-founders' job becomes just to talk, to deal with investors. So we took our time to raise money. Like we bootstrapped for 10 years.
10 years.
And that time we were having a lot of fun. So we said, and then, but when he raised the first round, that was the time we realized that now it is not our business. It becomes other people involved, and they have putting in money in your faith.
Yeah.
Because VCs, when you put money in small businesses, they're trusting the founders, right? The business is not there at all. They just believe that ये कुछ कर लेंगे, ये करेंगे, ये वो करेंगे, कुछ कर लेंगे. So then you have to realize that the responsibilities change. So that after the 10 years, we actually Rahul and we sat down and said, करना क्या है? Should we continue what we're doing? Because it was a decent business, we were making decent money. It was a small team, but everybody was happy. But the minute you get in funding, then you have to think of 20 things. You have to think of bigger business, and you have to think of growth all the time.
Yeah.
So that is it. But I feel all the phases are interesting, and at every phase, and you learn something and you move on. So what have your learnings, or what have you been any mistakes that you made?
So actually very small term number of years as compared to yours, but.
So we actually, we are the backbenchers, the slow students who take who take time.
I think those are the ones who actually finish the race.
No, but the thing is that I believe that there's what is the rush?
Yeah, right.
Like you have to, the journey is the destination. You have to enjoy the process. A lot of people said you could have raised money earlier and Happily Married. Maybe you could have, but again I thought that the environment was not there. When I'm saying that when people quit jobs to set up their own business, they were called foolish and not entrepreneurs, because उस time even the VC community was not there. Like Recur was not there, for instance. I wish Recur had come a little earlier, so we could have not maybe done a few rounds and just taken it. वो सब कुछ था नहीं. So it is very difficult if you didn't have your own money to do business.
Then you don't have any source.
You don't have any source. So we for a long time we didn't have money. So we were just doing इतना कर लेते हैं फिर अगले महीने
reinvest to
so then you can't scale, right? So that's it. Sorry, आप continue, आप कुछ बोल रहे थे.
Yeah, learning. So I think the learnings till now is that be very true and close to your consumer. It's very important to actually be close to your consumer. कई बार क्या होता है that when you're sitting in an office and of course thinking about only growth or the business and the Excel sheets, but then the consumer wants something else, and that shouldn't happen. The consumer, we have to understand what she wants. Is she really looking for a 5-in-1, or is it just like, is it just something that we launched and it's just for me and not for the consumer? Sometimes founders do that they launch something for the business, which will be good for the business, but sometimes it's not good for the consumer.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I think first we should analyze what the consumer wants, and accordingly we build something that suits our unit economics and our supply chain and our import and export and everything. So I think that is very important. That's what I learned. In terms of mistakes, I think what by far to not put all your eggs in one basket, in one platform. So for us, we spent way too much time for our own channel, and building other channels was not a priority earlier. It was good, and that also because there was so much validation. Everyone said, "Oh my God, तुम अपने channel से इतना कर ले तो कोई भी नहीं कर पाता. Nobody is able to do it." So we kept doing it, and then we were a little late to actually grow on marketplaces or say offline and everything. Not too late, but I think omni-channel is better. We should be dependent on four different things. So that's
but yeah, it's good to if you have your own D2C or your own website, then the learnings are profound.
The learnings are profound. Like you are so close to the consumer. Like I said, you are all. We send them so many broadcasts, WhatsApp surveys. We can call them anytime.
Exactly.
We call them every.
So it's a dream. You're talking to your customers all the time. You know what is happening. So in fact, we do that a lot. We want to test something. We just send it to our customers and take feedback immediately.
So what has been the best part about entrepreneurship for you?
Best part? It's the best part is that everybody thinks it's really cool.
Yeah.
They don't know the struggle and the sweat and the tears. So what I like is that after all these years, it's got the respect it deserves. Right? People look up to entrepreneurs in a way. But now I feel that it's being overdone. You're unnecessarily making them heroes, which they are not. No, they're just trying to do what they do. So what that does is it puts unnecessary pressure on people to raise money or take up entrepreneurship, which I think is foolish. In fact, when anybody asks me advice on saying should I become an entrepreneur, I say no, don't. It's not worth it. Because my theory is this, that if somebody is asking you, then they're not sure. And if you're not sure, then you should not do it. Because if somebody has to be an entrepreneur, वो करेगा.
Anyway.
वो करेगा और पूछेगा नहीं, If you are asking somebody, यार करूँ कि नहीं करूँ, देखो उन्होंने मना कर दिया इसलिए नहीं करूँगा, ऐसे थोड़ा होता है. So but that I think stems from because people also feel it's very cool. Entrepreneur करेंगे, entrepreneurship करेंगे और कंपनी को बहुत पैसे में बेचेंगे और बहुत लंबी जर्नी होती है and most people I know who have built big businesses don't think of exiting. They don't think कि यार बेच के निकलना है. They think यार जिंदगी भर चलाना है. That's how big businesses are built. Totally.
So how did for you, I think, how did you choose your co-founders? What qualities did you look for?
So we are actually we are batchmates, so I think that helps. And interestingly, Rahul, my co-founder, and me, we hardly agree on anything. We have absolutely different taste about everything.
Okay.
Be it food, be it even the fragrance when we are testing, we never agree on the same thing. So what that helps is that you get a very different opinion on everything. And that also helps. This is जो चीजें मुझे अच्छी लगती है करने उसको नहीं अच्छी लगती. Like Rahul इसका product में बहुत मन लगता है. He spends a lot of time in developing products. I enjoy talking to people, meeting people. So I do offline sales. I do a lot of marketing that week. So I think it's important to have complementary skills.
Definitely.
I would never recommend to do anything alone because it's very difficult. It's a long
Yeah.
journey, and so if you have somebody who believes in you or both of you equally believe in each other, just helps a lot to build the business. But I don't think there should be too many co-founders or उसमें भी लड़ाइयाँ होती हैं. So, but I think it's very important that because initially you don't have the money to hire big managers,
Yeah.
so if the co-founders can divide their roles and
Roles.
responsibilities, then and they are the guys who know the business in and out. So
Yeah.
so if anything has to be done or you need advice, then you depend on each other.
Yeah.
So that's important. So you ended up marrying your co-founder. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that happened. So we were also batchmates in college, and then so similar things happened. Complementary skills and complementary views on things.
Okay.
And one thing that I think we both saw is that someone who, when there's time to take a decision, it should be a co-founder. That was my personal belief, that when there is time to take a decision, the person should always think of the business before me. That that person should not think that my opinion is more important. Why are you not taking my opinion?
Yeah,
It should
that's
always be what is important for the business.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that I observed within people I used to talk to, because it's important, I think, because later when you have to take decisions, and if there's a slight chance that that person might turn out that why didn't you listen to me, and then the business will go away. You won't be able to take right decisions.
It's not personal.
They should be thinking so, and then that helps, because if that person has that mindset, then in the relationship also that person will think that relationship before me. So I think that kind of
That's
helps.
deep. Yeah. But I think I would say it's a challenging. Like we get a break, yeah. I go
Yeah,
home,
that
Rahul
is
goes
one
home. You
challenge.
guys are
Yeah,
constantly together.
that is a challenge, because it's very hard for us to disconnect. So even I mean, at midnight also one of us gets an idea, and we just wake up and we start discussing the idea, and then we're never able to disconnect.
But it's very amazing that a lot of these couples in
Now
the
they are
cosmetic
doing-
business, yeah. So
Yeah.
good.
So I think, I mean, now it's much more easier. But even when I graduated in 2012, it was very unlikely for any girl to start alone. So वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा हो जाता था that people started uh, uh, kind of teaming up with male co-founders. There are 2-3 female co-founders, but then I think that's how everyone started, that women had to start something, and then they found a guy, and then both of them kind of liked the business. They wanted to work in the business together, and then they got married. It was just an easy path, so that's why everyone started doing it.
Possibly, yeah. Why not actually? Why not?
Yeah. So what are your key learnings in retail?
In using offline.
Yeah, offline.
So offline is slightly more. It's a more like offline is not one big basket. There are multiple
Yeah.
channels. So there's modern trade. There's
General trade.
general trade. There's a BA channel.
Yeah.
Which means we have a sizable BA channel.
Okay.
So I think one big learning in offline is slower. It takes time to build. There are no shortcuts in offline. Secondly, it has to be done in a proper way.
Okay.
Whether you do it to distributors, whether you do it. Ideally or sell directly to retailers, but the right way is distributors. Through distributors, and you build it geography by geography.
Yeah.
And you make sure that you put people on the streets.
Yeah.
So if your sales people are not on the street, then there's a very high probability that your stocks will not sell.
It will not.
They'll come back, or they'll go to wholesale, or they get into deep discounting. So it's very important that you follow the discipline.
The hierarchy.
Yeah,
which,
the hierarchy.
which has been coming.
Yeah, which is the conventional business now.
Yeah, it's conventional.
The reason why most people could not set up brands or build brands before the internet economy was because of this challenge.
Yeah.
To build up distribution for 1 lakh towns or 1 lakh outlets would take a long time.
Yeah.
जैसे अभी आपको बता रहा हूँ, online we are already selling to 100 towns and cities,
Yeah.
which would not possible. So, but having said that, there has to be a big mix, and very important that the price parity is there.
Yeah.
You're not excessively discounting on.
Online.
हमारा एक्सपीरियंस है कि अगर आपने बहुत ज़्यादा ऑनलाइन डिस्काउंट किया तो वो माल ऑफलाइन में आ जाता है. अगर आपने ऑफलाइन में बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्काउंट किया तो वो 15 सेलर बना के वो ऑनलाइन में दिल सेलिंग ऑन द मार्केट प्लेस. सो दैट चैलेंज यू हैव
it will always be
टू कंट्रोल. And in your journey, the earlier you control this, the better it is in long term growth. Because Like I said, ये ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि अभी कर लेते बाद में बंद कर देंगे, वो नहीं होता.
never
So that's my learning, and I feel that at least in India, you can't build a strong brand, D2C brand, without having a sizable offline presence. You have to have it. There is no because that is where the repeat is. That's where the economics are better.
stable, I
It's the
think,
most stable
as a
business.
channel.
Yeah, it's the most stable business. And it's a another trip to see your product stacked up in a shelf, customers buying. It's a उसको एक अलग experience है. So yeah, that is my learning of retail. And even now I'm saying that we are still learning and we're still growing and we're still seeing how we can expand. We're getting into modern trade now.
Okay. So you're getting into modern trade now?
Because modern trade also is
Born because
it takes more money.
Yeah.
But I feel that GT is the real tough challenge. And if you can crack GT, तो MT तो हो ही जाएगा. Because MT में तो एक deal strike करनी है. Then so we worked initially on GT. We built GT and now we are slowly getting into modern trade.
Okay.
That's been our journey. We've just VLCCs that we've not tied up. They've acquired Ustraa. So now we're working with them to help build our MT. They come from a very visibly offline business. So we are trying to work with them and expand our offline.
Yeah.
We are helping them expand online.
Okay.
So it's a nice synergy between complementing skills. So exciting times for us as we scale and move forward.
What's your take on margin, net profit in terms of online versus offline? Which channel do you think is more profitable usually?
I think it really depends on how much of money you're putting in advertising.
Yeah.
And online right now advertising is because the way advertising is, so it is not as profitable as offline is.
Yeah.
Because offline you can sell in offline without any lot of mass advertising, but in online you need to spend money to get people on your website. So that destroys your unit economics. But as long as you are very careful about your gross margins and the unit economics are right, then eventually there will be profitability. So that's how you have to look at it. So even if you spend initially on advertising, you have to make sure that as a percentage of sale overall it comes down. That's it to work. It's not easy. It's a challenge everybody is dealing with. Especially all the online players, because you end up spending a lot of money as a percentage of your revenue on advertising. So वो एक challenge है सबका, but that everybody is fighting.
Reducing the CAC. I think the secret also lies in building communities. Like these days, there are WhatsApp groups, and then Instagram also has launched this feature in which there is a broadcast channel where you can add all people and everything. So I think it's all a lot about the community.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we have gone online community by community. Like there is geography by geography in offline. So we mimic that online, that community by community. So at first, like I said, we launched the tools first. So we went into makeup artist community first.
Okay.
And this whole community definitely will buy these tools. They will try either of our tools, right? And then they started trying our cosmetics. And from there we went top down, like now makeup enthusiast and end user who is just an enthusiast. We've not gone to the beginner yet because we know we want to build premium for the top two layers, which is the artist and the enthusiast. So community by community, I think it helps to reduce the CAC and so affiliate codes and everything. All of those things is there. But I mean, I resonate that I think offline, we started very small and offline we're not too big, but online the profitability is it gets hampered because of all the advertising costs and
but I think it will become sanity will prevail and eventually so right now that's what you're doing. Our job now is to make sure that the company is profitable and we control the ad spend is a percentage of respectable percentage of your revenue. It's not crazy. So वो सब हो रहा है. It's
now people are also
so that learning is there.
I think what is your take on cash on delivery? COD.
I think this is a uniquely Indian problem. It's a massive problem. देखो अब cash on delivery देखो रहेगा because हमारा customer is a little conservative. A lot of customers are conservative. what we have been able to do is we've been able to use tech and map some red flags.
Yeah.
Like we've seen that अगर इस area से order आता है और इस value का आता है तो most likely वो return होता है. और COD में अगर आपका order 2 या 3 दिन में नहीं पहुंचता है तो return होता है. So we have tried to get those things going and then जैसा होता है तो वैसे में immediately वो या तो हम cancel कर देते हैं या we introduce OTP हमने काफी चीजें करी हैं. और इंटरेस्टिंगली काफी जो डिलीवरी पार्टनर्स है ना, they are working very hard to make COD
they have created those platforms.
They've created platforms and they're also working on a lot of tech to make COD a little more cumbersome, less cumbersome for everybody. वो चैलेंज है एक्चुअली COD में, बट उसके मतलब वो भी जैसे करना पड़ता है. बट यू नो लाइक कंपनी लाइक Amazon have a very small COD percentage as a overall sell. It's very low compared to, so because they have been able to crack and replication, immediate delivery, so उससे उनके COD return भी बहुत कम होते हैं. And COD orders भी I think Amazon के is one of the lowest in the industry.
For Amazon it is.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So with so much competition and so much price cutting and all, how do you convince your customer about your product?
So actually yes, there's a lot of below mass priced products, especially in cosmetics, are coming in, and so people are selling 10 lipsticks in 1,000 rupees and everything, and people are also thinking, okay, this is a variety, I'm getting 10 lipsticks in $1,000. But when you see that ingredient list and you realize that I mean this is very harmful for your skin. So we all used to go and shop clothes which are 100, 200 Sarojini Nagar, Janpat and all, and then that's something you wear, okay, you just wear once or twice, वो फट जाएगा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कपड़ा. But अगर cosmetics है, you're actually applying on your skin, it is an organ, and especially on your lips, you eat the lipstick most of the time, so so most of the times it's going in your stomach directly. So for us also there's so much data now that massification हो रहा है, people are getting, new customers are getting acquired through that pricing and everything. There's so much data, and of course we could get larger volumes by selling at those prices. But when I go to those factories and I kind of see what kind of ingredient is that, I mean if someone is selling 1,000 rupee 10 lipsticks for 1,000 rupees, then you're getting it for 100. It's costing them 10 to 20 rupees, and you can imagine what you will get if the product is for 10 to 20 rupees. अगर हम proper अच्छा plastic का container भी लेते हैं lipstick का, which is not harmful for you, the container comes for 25. And how are people filling the lipstick and then in 15 rupees they are procuring it, selling for 100? So I think it's very important to be cognizant of the ingredients of cosmetics and skincare that is going on your skin.
True, sir. Yeah, it's an important point you make because customer now is aware that like we don't have any harmful chemicals in our product. We don't use any SLES or parabens. So customers are aware of that, and at a point they will ready to pay a little value for what they think. If the brand fulfills what they
what they're saying, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Just let a man breathe and just hush so my mind could just see, so my mind don't erupt. At times I feel I can't get enough, but I sip a double cup and I spend a couple bucks.